Someone on a hot mic says, "Oh Lord," when they hear Brett Baer mention that Elon Musk might be part of Trump's administration.
You know, the question is what the Republican Party looks like now. And Kayleigh, it's a multiracial party, to your point. It's working class. And maybe it's the future. I mean, it's Elon Musk. It is Joe Rogan and podcasts.
Trump wins, America loses. What else is new?
Well, here we go again. Ugh, I mean, I'm not happy about it, but you're not going to catch me whining or crying or, saying it was unfair that people cheated, because I'm not a goddamn baby, all right? And I can accept even the most uncomfortable of realities, unlike a lot of people in this country. Okay, listen, y'all got what you wanted, all right? I hope you know, though. I hope you understand. People are going to die. A lot of people. Ukrainians are going to die. Palestinians are going to die. Women, trans people, trans kids, immigrants, both documented and not. Poor people are going to die. A lot of people are going to die as a result of this. Not only that, the Project 2025 is fully on the table now. Our institutions have never been more threatened. The Supreme Court's going to become even further solidified as the nightmare repression tribunal it already is. RFK Jr. is going to outlaw 5G, and Dana White's going to be the goddamn Secretary of Education. So, hey, at least eggs will be cheap, right? Except, oh wait, no, they very won't, because that's not how any of this actually works.
Speaking of Trump's administration, we all know that he wants to put RFK Jr. in charge of some of the health agencies, and we're screwed.
We can add a few names like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And he's going to help make America healthy again. And now he's a great guy, and he really means it. He wants to do some things, and we're going to let him go to it. I just said, but, Bobby, leave the oil to me. We have more liquid gold, oil and gas. We have more liquid gold than any country in the world, more than Saudi Arabia. We have more than Russia. Bobby, stay away from the liquid gold. Other than that, go have a good time, Bobby.
And here's RFK Jr. saying what he's going to do with the FDA.
So you say clearing out the corruption in your terms. Would that mean clearing out the top-level federal service workers that are currently at the FDA and the CDC?
In some categories, I would say.
What does that look like? Yeah.
In some categories of workers, there are entire departments, like the nutrition departments at FDA, that have to go. That are not doing their job. They're not protecting our kids. Why do we have Fruit Loops in this country that have 18 or 19 ingredients, and you go to Canada and it's got 2 or 3?
Would you eliminate any of the agencies?
To eliminate the agencies, as long as it requires congressional approval, I wouldn't be doing that. And I can get the corruption out of the agencies. This is what I've been doing for 40 years. I've sued all those agencies. I have a PhD in corporate corruption, and that's what I do. And once they're not corrupt, once Americans are getting good science and are allowed to make their own choices, they're going to get a lot healthier.
Well, it's come to this, folks. It's come to this. This cabinet or these people involved with Trump are just getting wackier and wackier. And this is the guy who, in his original administration, he had Mike Flynn. Remember Mike Flynn? He had Steve Bannon. Remember Steve Bannon? He had Stephen Miller. He still has Stephen Miller. It's a cuckoo group of people that are getting more cuckoo and more cuckoo. And you've got RFK Jr., who is a famous anti-vaxxer, who he wants to put in charge of a lot of the health organizations. So, folks, get ready for some of these diseases like measles and maybe polio. Maybe those are going to come back. I don't know. But it's pretty crazy, and it's very unknown. It feels like we have a storm coming, but meteorologists haven't been able to figure out just how bad it's going to be. So you just got to, just buckle up and wait, because you have people like Elon Musk or RFK Jr. who are being considered to be somehow involved in this Trump administration. And these are just some names that we know. The gentleman that you saw earlier in that clip that was being ironic as well, maybe Dana White, the guy from the UFC guy, will end up being, like you said, a Secretary of education or something. We don't know. This is really crazy, unprecedented, uncharted waters. We really don't know what's going to happen. Because what it was, I just want to remind everybody, right? Remember the chaos that ensued under Trump 1. There was constantly people resigning. There was constantly people that would resign and then tell afterwards like how crazy it was inside. You have people like John Kelly, who's come out recently and said that Trump had said that he had an affinity towards Hitler stuff. And so he was someone who was taken seriously. He was a general who was giving us information of how unstable Trump is. Even leading into the election, a lot of Trump's generals and a lot of Trump's former cabinet members had all said this guy's a dangerous person, don't vote for him. Now he's won, and the serious people are not really being considered anymore. He's just reaching out into the world and finding people that, supported him or he feels good about and just going, hey, why don't you take this department? Why don't you take that department? And it's going to be, if nothing else, it's going to be entertaining. I mean, it'll be dark entertaining because we're going to see, like, for example, if RFK Jr. actually does start to not require certain vaccines for schools, you're going to start seeing certain diseases coming back. That's just how vaccines work. Or if you have someone like Elon Musk somehow getting involved in some sort of financial world. He was on an interview before saying that it's going to be tight and hard for people for a while, but in the long run, it's going to be good. He wants to cut spending here and there. He's not an economist, but he, I guess, is going to be in charge of cutting the deficit. I don't know. It's so crazy. I don't know how Donald Trump picks his people. I don't know if he just goes, hey, why don't you run the Department of Defense? Why? Because you just look like someone that could run the Department of Defense. I mean, it's going to be chaotic. And that's what I was getting at. It was chaotic before. And then those the 4 years under Biden, there was some chaos. It wasn't perfect. But let's face it, it wasn't daily chaos like we had under Donald Trump. There wasn't daily tweets where people would go, oh my gosh, this guy said something so off the chain or just so inappropriate. And we were talking about every day he was in our faces. And then when Biden came in with his administration, again, not a perfect administration. There were some problems, but we felt like there was adults behind the wheel and heading us in the right direction. Biden famously was handed the pandemic and inflation, and some of the policies that they had led to a little bit of further inflation, and yet they brought us back down. Inflation is now back down. We've actually recovered better than most Western countries, I would say maybe even the best, from the pandemic and lowering our inflation. So things seem to be landing smoothly. Stock market is higher than it's ever been. Wages are higher than they've ever been. And so we have certain things. The infrastructure bill that Biden passed, that all these other presidents wanted to pass, but he passed it. And now it's creating jobs in America, and it's heading us towards a future where we're going towards more environmentally friendly energy, right? So he was doing things. And now you got this guy who's just putting people in positions of power within his cabinet just because he likes them. Just because, not because they're qualified. Elon obviously is a successful businessman in many ways. But again, that doesn't mean that you're someone who could balance our deficit. That doesn't mean that someone like RFK Jr., who famously, he said it in that clip, he sued a lot of these,
all these motherfuckers
the EPA or the FDA, I think. And maybe he's done some things that you go, those are commendable things. But he's also someone who's hardcore anti-vax, and most doctors will tell you that vaccines are necessary. So we got these people lined up. We don't know what's going to happen. Is Steve Bannon coming back in? Will Roger Stone get a position? Will Michael Flynn come back? Imagine if Michael Flynn, remember Michael Flynn? He's the crazy far right religious general who believes in some kind of Armageddon or something's going to happen. So if he puts that guy in charge of the Department of Defense, what's going to happen? Not good things.
The best part.
So, folks, all of that to say, these are unprecedented times.
The best
I wish I
part
had
of
answers for you. I
waking
really
up.
don't. But we will start seeing after January 20, whatever it is, 20th, 21st, when he gets inaugurated. America's going to change a lot.
It's the big one.
Buckle up, folks. I'm comedian Raz Jobrani.
up.
I've got a special on YouTube. It's called The Birds and the Bees. I want you to check it out.
That's why I
Have a
woke up
laugh.
super early.
Let's re-energize and let's come up with some strategies on how we can make
Look, I got
America.
a train to clean now.
Keep
Who wants to
America
be
a
train to
democracy.
Clean a train.
I don't know.
Castle.
Check it out. Bye.
That's it for the meetings? Yes. So I can get me on some Dynasty Warriors or some shit. And then get on some Call of Duty. Who wants to see some of that Call of Duty? Let me pick up one of these videos, man. I ain't been listening to this. I was just getting into I was just uttering stupid shit from the side. Yeah, I didn't even fucking really. I was just having the background play whatever fucking Trump was saying. He just be saying shit, dog. We didn't know he was gonna do this. You didn't know this fool was gonna fuck you over. You didn't know this fool was gonna fuck you over. Alright, shit. Well, let me tell you, the other one did too.
And I should say, we will also.
And the other one is going to do it too.
We won't be perfect, but when we
You got
make
this
mistakes, we'll
dumbass
fix
over
it
here.
quite
Elon
quickly.
Musk fucking think he's
So, for
fucking
example, with USAID,
Badass or some shit.
one of the things we accidentally
brings a
canceled very
chainsaw to,
briefly
like,
was Ebola,
immolate.
Ebola
Like,
prevention.
you know how
I
like
think
they
we all
say
want Ebola
we're
prevention.
cutting prices and
So
they have
we
like
restored the
a
Ebola
scissor,
prevention immediately.
and then
And
like
there was no
from where it
interruption.
went to like scissors, hand scissors.
But
now
we
like
do
when they
need
do
to
something
move
like that, they
quickly.
cut it with a big ass scissor.
If we're to achieve
He went and got a
$1 trillion
chainsaw.
deficit reduction,
He had to pay the job and everything on that one.
and financial year 2026, it
He was
requires
going like that.
saving
Look at this
$4
fucking
billion per
psycho
day,
killer
every day
ass fucking
from
what's
now
it called?
through the
Texas
end of
Chainsaw
September.
Massacre ass.
But we can do it.
You look
and
like
we
he got a
will do
leather
it.
face on.
Sorry, can we just talk about the
Tripping, dog.
example that he used to defend
I'm
himself?
hearing this person.
Sorry, we canceled
Democrats are
Ebola
Democrats are
prevention?
good.
Sorry, we
Republicans
canceled
Republicans
efforts
are good.
to
I'm
stop
like, both of y'all
transmission of the
motherfuckers are
most
trash.
deadly disease
Like,
in the
stop it.
world. Everybody makes mistakes, right? Who among us hasn't accidentally exacerbated
all
the
I'm
spread
hearing
of a
is
deadly
these
contagion that
Democrats
would decimate the
complaining about
American
the
population?
Republicans
Am I right?
Republicans-
And this isn't
Republicans
even
are
the
not
only
complaining about
example
the
like that.
Republicans.
What about how
Dem-
Elon
you
and
know,
Doge fired
Republicans are not complaining
350
about Donald
employees
Trump.
at the National
Who's a
Nuclear
Republican?
Security Administration?
but Biden
They
was doing the same
haphazardly
thing.
fired the
Biden
people
got
in
in.
charge of our
Democrats
nuclear
were
arsenal and
talking back
security.
when Biden
I'm
got
sorry, but
into
what?
presidency,
That is
they were
not an
all, and they were
oopsie,
showing
as
all that.
Elon's
Well, look at
framing
the
it. It
Democrats.
is
They're all
a
upset
massive
that
fuck up,
Biden
one that
ain't
can
doing
have
Democrat
massive
shit or
ramifications
whatever.
around the world. The fact that America is a nuclear superpower is why we are able to preserve so much of the post-World War II order. The implications, then, of Elon crippling our nuclear capabilities are impossible to overstate. The executive director of the Arms Control Association said, quote, "The Doge people are coming in with absolutely no knowledge of what these departments are responsible for. They don't seem to realize that it's actually the Department of Nuclear Weapons more than it is the Department of Energy." But hey, Elon said that they're going to make mistakes here and there, so I guess as long as he apologizes, then no harm, no foul, right? Elon and Doge have laid off veterans, researchers working on cancer